Very good evening. Thank you for joining Shri Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the Song of the Divine. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We'll be continuing from chapter 2, that is Sankhyayoga, the Yoga of Knowledge. So we have started from the teachings where Lord Shri Krishna will be explaining to Arjuna from verse 54 to 72 up to 72, that is throughout the end of this chapter, on the marks of the man of stable mind and his glories as described by the Lord. So let us continue from where we stopped. In the last satsang, I ended at verse 55, where Lord Shri Krishna is now answering to Arjuna based on his question that he asked. So let me give a quick recap on what is the question did Arjuna ask Lord Shri Krishna. Arjuna said, Krishna, what are the characteristics of a God-realized soul, stable of mind and established in samadhi, that is perfect tranquility of mind? How does the man of stable mind speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? A very, very powerful question did Arjuna ask. So the Lord began with his response saying, Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, when one thoroughly casts off all cravings of the mind and is satisfied in the self through the joy of the self, he is then called stable of mind. So this is where we stopped. Now let us continue from verse 56 onwards and see what is Lord Shri Krishna teach Arjuna. The sage whose mind remains unperturbed amid sorrows, whose thirst for pleasures has altogether disappeared, and who is free from passion, fear and anger, is called stable of mind. Wow, this is very, very, very powerful. So let me just go back to the earlier verse. He's saying, Arjuna, when one thoroughly casts off all the cravings of mind. See, even in the last satsang I explained, what does this cravings of mind mean? The cravings is that the mind has certain expectations. See, remember, the mind has its own mind. Mind is a very elusive character. You can't find mind. But you know where is the mind? Can you point out where is the mind? You cannot. But the mind is actually right from your head to toe. It is all over. And that is what we don't understand. We think the mind is here. It is brain. When you usually ask somebody, where's your mind? They'll point out here. No, that's his brain. Mind is called the manas. And manas is here, the heart, right? We say that is called the man. We say man. Man me Bhagwan. But that is the heart. But the mind is an invisible creature. You cannot catch the mind. But something is always chattering to you, right? It is non-stop talking. It is saying, look, this person is talking like this, that person is saying. It's instigating you always against someone. It's never allowing you to be free. But please remember, if you like someone, then it understands anyway, okay, this person likes, so I'm not going to say anything bad about this person. But who is it instigating you against? Please remember, mind is Indradev. Indradev means he always is afraid of losing his throne. You know, yesterday I was writing a blog about Lord Dattatreya. In that, again, the mind, Indradev, gets very affected because of Anusuya. Anusuya's chastity, the purity, because she is gaining power over the three worlds. So Indradev is very much affected. He is worried about where his throne will go away. So then he always devises a plan. And the plan is to tell the gods, look, and tell them, look, there is somebody whose power is growing beyond. You need to test her. You need to bring her chastity, create, do something about it. So he wants to, get the gods to create something blasphemous. And then he's even telling the goddesses, saying, so far, goddess Lakshmi, Saraswati and Parvati were known as the foremost among the divine goddesses in the three worlds. But now due to Anusuya's chastity, even their power will come down. So he's trying to instigate. But see, the gods are gods. They have a purpose. Everything is a divine Leela. There is a beautiful play that is being performed. Why is that being performed? That is being performed because there is a need. And this Adhyatma stories, we don't understand. I'll actually condense in short. I don't want to go too long, but you can read in my blog about what the real truth means. Please remember, Anusuya and Atri Muni are the sage and the sage's wife. She herself is the highest, chaste woman. Purity is the highest. She has no malice. She has no jealousy. She had conquered all the Shadripus. She has overcome that. She has a perfect control over herself. And she's always, showing her motherly love to everyone. So she was a very kind, compassionate being, very loving. So remember that. The god, what does it mean? Datta is going to be born to them. But before the god is being born means before you attain God realization, you're always going to be put to test. So the three Trinity gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, come to Anusuya to test her. So what happens? And they transform as a mendicant. They become a mendicant and they come to Atri Muni's Rishi's Kuti. Kuti is that small hut. When they come there, Anusuya mother is very happy to receive them. So she receives them with great, Atiti Daivo Bhava. Gods are guests. Rather, guests are gods, Guests are gods. Yeah, they are gods as well. So she receives them with absolute devotion. Then she is serving them. So these mendicants make a very strange request that she should serve them the food, not donning any garment on her. She, obviously for a moment it's quite shocking, no? What is this weird and strange request that the Atithis are making? That is the guess. She doesn't understand. And then, but her devotion is to whom? Her husband. And Atri Muni is one of the greatest of the rishis. He's an enlightened being. So what is she doing? She is married to this divine being. So who is she? She's a Guru Patni. Okay, there's a term. It's not about, in those days, it is not about the normal, husband and wife relation. Please, people have a very wrong idea about, they always compare the very beautiful, profound truth to their crass human existence. She is known as the Guru Patni. She serves her husband through devotion. For her, her husband is God. And that is why she is known to be the highest of the Pativrata, the one who worshipped her husband as God himself. Which is what the truth is, which means Atri Rishi, he's a Rishi. So she is already serving her Guru. That her husband is who is a Guru to her. So when she does a service, she's actually helping her husband on his spiritual path. So that way, she's not having any kind of a material worldly husband-wife relationship. And this is the truth we don't understand. They think, the sages have married. No, they had a purpose of that marriage. The marriage is for a very beautiful purpose. And then, so let me come back to the real purpose here. What happens then? So when the mendicants made this request, Anusuya, who is very devoted to her husband, immediately worshipped the lotus feet of her husband. The moment she worshipped his lotus feet in her mind and meditated upon it, she got the understanding. Only the thought came to her mind. Only if these mendicants were her babies, she will be able to feed them without donning the garment. That is it. That one thought immediately transformed the three mendicants into three babies. And by the way, these mendicants were the Trinity gods, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwar, who had come to test the chastity and the power, the purity of this divine being. I will call her divine because she is doing so much of service. That's the divinity in her. Anusuya is the divine being herself because that is what she has attained from, serving her husband on the path of devotion, the Guru Bhakti, Guru Seva. That is what she's doing to her husband. And when this happened, her husband, who was not there at that moment in time, returns from the river after finishing his oblations. And the moment he sees the babies, where he sees that Anusuya is very lovingly fondling the three children, the babies. And he was amazed. But through his divine vision, he understood what has happened. And immediately then he offers his prayers at to the Trinities, the three babies, and says, please, thank you so much for choosing our abode to be, born as these babies. Thank you so much. And then he washes the feet of the babies with his tears. That is devotion. And then when he prays to them, they come back into their real form. What does that mean? The gods come to test you to see whether you actually are worthy or not. Spirituality is not a joke. And spirituality is not for a common man or somebody who's weak-hearted. Spirituality is really for those who really mean, who live that Guru Bhakti, who live that, oh, my Guru is my everything, my God is my everything, and everything else comes after my God and my Guru. Today it's very rare to find something like that. And what does that truth mean? Then Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they tell Anusuya, we are very pleased with your devotion and your chastity. We would like to give you a boon. Make any wish that you want. Then Atri Muni and Anusuya make a wish saying that the joy that you gave us, by being born as our babies, the couple, if we don't have children, could you make that a permanent thing? And that is where Datta was born. What that means? God gives himself to you. That is called God realization. Only through the highest of your purity of your heart, your mind, and surrender unto the lotus feet of the Divine Master. The Divine Master is going to put his Maya and keep testing you to see where you stand. Please remember, everybody is different in their level. Every student, every disciple, even the greatest of the gods have to, go through this rigorous test. Like Lord Harishchandra himself had to go through that test of the God to stand that faith in the divine. What kind of faith do you have? How good is your faith or how flimsy is your faith? No spiritual truth can be built on the foundation of a, false faith or just a flimsy faith, because the temple will collapse and fall. It cannot stand on that. Please remember, the foundation on which the temple has to be established has to be very strong, has to be firm. That is called the faith of your God and your Guru, which has to be atal. It is not 99.99%. Even that 1% is not there. No, the temple will collapse and fall. This is the adhyatmic truth, the spiritual truth. So, Datta was born, where, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, they, were given their essence. So, Chandra was born, then was born, it's Dattatreya and Durvasa, which is, Durvasa is an essence of Lord Maheshwara, Chandra, the essence of Lord Brahma, and Datta was the essence of Lord Vishnu. So Datta was born. Datta means gifting himself to you. It's a gift. You're born as a gift. I am gifting myself to you. So God realization happens. And when does it happen? Not with, with your flimsy way. You think spirituality means you should be, sweet talked. People have this very interesting way, like, oh, I have to only be told like this, nicely, sweetly, sugarly. They have their own do's and don'ts. I didn't know that there is a separate rule book for each one of us we have to follow. My Guruji will have to teach in everybody's ways and means, I have also said this many a time to my Guruji. Sometimes I didn't understand. So everybody is in their own ignorant stage. Many years ago, when I was learning under the tutelage of my master, the Guru's method of teaching is very different to each one. Many a time I would wonder, look, to me you teach like this, you are very tough with me. Why is that you are nice to other person, you don't tell them? This used to be my contention many years ago. But then when I understood this truth about how important it is, if you have to really become that purity, the chastity, that highest purity that exists, that divinity, that strong, that firmness within, you have to go through that. The master's way of teaching is very unique. You can't even fathom that. The teachings come dime a dozen. He is going to test you continuously to see where you stand. Like, everybody is not a diamond, everybody is not a gold. But please remember, every metal has its own use. Okay, a copper is a copper, a silver is a silver, and it has its own use. A gold is a gold, a diamond is a diamond. But you can be any of this one metal or a gemstone. Even in that, you will be tested to see what is the level of your purity. It doesn't mean you're a gold and you're the perfect, perfect metal. The gold also has to be put into the fire to get his purity, that 100% purity. We call it aparanji. The purest form of the gold is called aparanji. To become that, the gold is always going to be put in the fire and the impurities are going to be removed. That is what spirituality means. Likewise, the silver also. We use lot of silver, metal vessels for doing our puja. But can we, say you're offering a kheer, a naivedya to the god. Imagine if the silver vessel is not clean. Imagine there's some remnant of the soap or something exists. That naivedya will become spoiled. It will spoil. So do you offer in the vessel that is contaminated? No, you can't. So the purity of the mind is extremely important. What makes you think that you can say, you can rattle off anything, you can think your own thing, you can talk whatever you feel like? But please remember, the Guru's ways to test and teach is very unique. Nobody can fathom him. He is an unfathomable being. Here also Lord Shri Krishna's way of teaching Arjuna is very unique. Nobody understands this. That is the truth. And I keep telling this every single day in my satsang. Please remember one very important lesson. Those who are listening to the lesson and those who have to listen will only get that knowledge, that which you will be able to understand at that point in time. Nothing more, nothing less. It is only through your self-effort, through your own sadhana, can you evolve. And the Guru knows what he has to give you, what he has to not give you. Sometimes he will, just to boost your ego, he's going to make you talk actually. He will say things where you'll open your big mouth and blabber dime a dozen, let me tell you. That is one of the methods which the Guru will apply, use to see where you stand. What kind of nonsense is your mind going to dish out? So he will say, oh, that person is like this, that person is bad, that person is this. And if you actually join the bandwagon and continue on that, he knows where you are standing. He knows what kind of a mind you have. The Guru's job is very tough. But please remember, the Guru only cares about everybody's well-being. He's not interested in what you do with your life or in any other way. All he cares about is that you evolve on your path, that everything happens good for you. But you know what? There's a very beautiful lesson I was doing yesterday. In that Guru Charitra, it is said that one doubt against your Guru, even in thought, in deed, in action, is blasphemous. It's a sin that you incur. And who's the one who suffers? It is not you and I who suffer. It is that master who suffers. Because he understands we are the ignorant being who never learn. We are like a dog's tail, It's like the dog's tail which will not straighten. And that pain, that sin, he absorbs. Through how? Suffering through his body. It's like Jesus getting crucified on the cross for the sins of others. Not for himself. That is exactly what we do. By our ignorant behavior, by our, the bitterness, all that tendencies that we have. That is why Lord Shri Krishna here is teaching us, how do we be? How do we live? What should we do to evolve, to do our karma, selfless action? How do we perform in this world? See, the choice is always there. My Krishna Guruji will always tell this. I have not invited anybody here. Neither I am saying you should go. The door is always open. You're free to walk in and you're free to walk out. It is the choice that you have to make. But don't judge him. You're a nobody to judge him. Nobody has the right to judge my Krishna Guruji. Because he's the God himself. He's Lord Shri Krishna who has manifested on this world to impart this esoteric knowledge to to those chosen ones so that he can establish dharma and we follow the righteous life in this world. And we can serve this universe. That is our purpose, why this body has been given to us. Not so that we can, enjoy the life. Here he's coming to a very, very, very important lesson. He's saying this. The sage whose mind remains unperturbed amid sorrows. What does it mean? Yeah, people are going to call you names. People are going to say all sorts of things. People are going to do everything. Does it mean you are allowed to react? No. You can't. Again, I'm saying this is only for spiritual people. In the material world, it's a choice that you have. Whether you want to accept this truth or not. It's a choice that you have whether you want to live this lesson or not. But those who have accepted spirituality to be their life, like me, for me, I need to live this lesson. If I don't live this lesson, I cannot live in spiritual. I cannot say I am a spiritual being. I cannot say that. I am then a cross-human being. That is what it is. So, I cannot get, I have to remain unperturbed. I cannot get disturbed by my mind because of some sorrows happening in my world. And sorrows according to whom? According to you, your mind and your environment. Why? Because it is your problem. It is your karma. But we take all of that and put it on our Guruji. We think my Guru is doing something wrong to me. Oh, my Guru is giving somebody else. He is not giving me. Please remember, nobody gets less and more beyond what their karma is. Whatever you are destined to get, you will anyways get. And because of the grace of the Guru bestows upon you at the right time. He knows when to give, when not to give. You need to have that faith. And whatever the sufferings that we believe that we are going through, whether it is, being born in a certain family, whether we have certain relationships, we are married, we are unmarried, friends, any association, everything is because of your karma alone. Get this very clearly drilled into your head. God is not sitting there to destroy your life. We have a very weird way of talking to God. God, why are you doing this to me? Really? Is God doing anything to you? It is your own karma of many lives of yours. Your past, previous lives of tendencies, karma that you have incurred is why in this life you are either suffering or whatever the good is happening, both is because of your own karma alone. This prarabdha karma through this body is what you're facing. So where is the question of God doing something or not? God is only a witness. Lord Shri Krishna is clearly telling here, Arjuna, it is you who have to lift the bow and arrow and fight. I am not going to do anything. I am only a charioteer. Oh, witness who is just witnessing everything. I am not interested in anything. I am that eternal being who is the substratum of this entire universe. But I don't do. God doesn't do anything. Please remember. It is your own karma which does. It is your own action. That is why my Krishna Guruji will keep teaching all of his disciples that we should always be our good self and not be bad. To anybody, not say anything. And this is a sadhana we have to do. And each one has to do it in their own way. I cannot teach somebody else. Neither can anyone teach me. It is what my Guruji has taught is the lesson that I have to learn and evolve on that path. And the choice is mine alone. That I have to strive. Striving to attain that yoga of equanimity is mine alone. So he's saying, I cannot get unperturbed. But who is he describing? He's describing the quality of a stable mind, the quality of a sage. The sage whose mind remains unperturbed. First you have to become a sage. Please remember, this is only after you become a sage can you achieve this. The sage whose mind remains unperturbed. What is he saying? Something very interesting. The sage also can falter if his mind is not unperturbed. Yeah, you can become a sage for a moment, little bit. And then what happens? If you get disturbed and everything, that position of sage doesn't exist. God can leave you. You might have climbed a Mount Everest. And after that, from there, the fall is very high. You know that, no? One wrong mistake, one wrong thing, one wrong step, your entire life is destroyed. From becoming godly, you will become a crass human being or a demonic, whatever, wherever, whichever level you want to go down to. It's very easy to go down. Downward journey is very easy, but climbing upward is very, very, very difficult. Please remember, this is not a joke. So he's talking about a sage whose mind remains unperturbed amid sorrows, whose thirst for pleasures has altogether disappeared. What is this pleasures? The pleasure is, I've dreamt, right from my childhood I've dreamt. I want to be settled in some I want to go abroad. I want to be settled in some very beautiful country. I want to make lots of money. I want to be working for a very big corporation. I want to do this. I want to get married. I want to have a happy married life. I want to have children. I want to travel the world. I want to own cars. I want to own bungalows, yachts, you name it. Those are the pleasures. The pleasure could be even the simplest one. I want to eat good food. That is also a pleasure. I want to wear good clothes. That is also a pleasure. I want to, wear some good jewelry. I want to look good. That's also a pleasure. Whose thirst for pleasures has altogether disappeared. It gives you pleasure, when you're wearing something nice and people call you, oh, you look very beautiful. You feel elated because somebody is saying, oh, you're looking very nice. That's a pleasure. We derive pleasure, but where is this pleasure all about? It's in the mind. And please remember, this is all fake. Just because somebody says something good, you feel that person is very good. Oh, that person is he's my best friend. You don't know what your best friend is all about. And that truth, please remember, Maya darling is very nice. She's very beautiful. You will have to get the same lesson dime a dozen back when you try to think that somebody is good, and then you're going to see what that person is all about. You don't know. Don't go by the face value. People do sweet talks. And this is something we will be doing very soon from Thursday onwards. In Devi Mahatmyam, it's very beautifully explained. Who are these demons in our world? And they appear to be very nice, They'll smile at you. They'll talk to you very sweetly. Please remember, those are the same people who has no good intention for you. They will backstab you. But the one who corrects you and says things to you, be this, be that, has always a good heart and has good intentions for you. That person is not bad. So it is your mind whose judgment is bad and who you are judging because you want to hear sweet talks. My Guruji will never praise anybody. Please remember this. He is not going to say you're some great person. He's not going to praise or put you on his pedestal. No way. On the contrary, he'll always tell you, you've done something, go, what next? Keep doing. He's never going to praise you. The day he praises you, you will fall down. That is the truth. Please remember, when the world praises you, you will stop growing in your life. I've learned this in a very hard way. And since that day, I'm not even bothered about, wanting anybody's praises. Yeah, the mind is always going to think, oh, somebody's saying nice to me. I don't care about that nice, neither I'm going to care about the sorrows. That is what we have to overcome. Because, saying nice things we still enjoy. But somebody saying bad, we still don't accept. We don't like it. And that is the indifference that we have to overcome. The last entire, I think from verse almost about 40 verses, plus, Lord Sri Krishna has only been talking about one thing, that is about equanimity. In being indifference towards the pairs of opposites. You have to become indifferent. You can't react. My Krishna Guruji keeps teaching me this, which is taking a long time for me to learn. Let them speak what they want. Doesn't make you anything. It is their mind's muck that they are throwing. It is their mind's gutter. Why should you get into that? Why are you accepting that in the first place? And that is why he keeps reminding me about this most beautiful lesson of Lord Buddha and his disciple. Somebody walks to him and is talking to him nonsense. Does it mean Buddha has to accept? Buddha is Buddha. Can anybody change Buddha? No way. He is Lord Buddha. But who is listening? Somebody who listens can accept. But that is the firmness you have to get. Undisturbed, unperturbed mind during, undisturbed and unperturbed mind. How do you bring that? That is only through sadhana. You just cannot say, I will do this. Then I will be like this. No, you can't. You have to strive hard. And then you have to give up the thirst for pleasures. You have to give up all that enjoyments that we think, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's all our desires. See, at the end of the day, everything stems from one source alone. Desires. Whose desire is it? It is your desire. Until that keeps coming in, you are nowhere in spiritual. Forget even to saying spiritual. Like I keep telling, everybody, this body or anybody, right? Any body, which has done some good merit in previous births of ours, that we have the grace of the Divine Lord, that, because of the grace, we have an opportunity and we are blessed beings to be living and studying under the tutelage of the great Divine Master, the Guru, the real Guru. That is a boon. But we don't value it. Many times when I say this, I say this to my Guruji. One regret that I will have all my life is that I wish I would have learned much before. The lessons that you have taught me in the first 4 years, which I was not able to understand because of my own ego, the body, the attachment to the body, the mind, from the things that I had come out from my background, from where I lived, what I did, everything impacted me a lot, but I didn't listen to you. This is a regret that I will have always. I wish I could have listened to my Guruji much early on. I would have learnt a lot. I would have progressed way beyond. But my Guruji is very kind. You know what he'll say to me? It's fine. Everything happens at his perfect timing. This is how great he is. My Guruji is the most beautiful being on this entire universe. There is nobody like him and nobody will be ever in this world. That is who he is. So to being him and learning under him is a blessing. We need to revere that, not waste it. And sometimes it's a very sad story that nobody understands this divine master. We look at him as an ordinary human being and try to put on him, and this is what I was learning yesterday, that how we bring in our own good and bad and we reflect it on him and we judge him, which is our own mind's gutter. We come from that gutter. All of us come from some gutter. And from that gutter, we bring all that, carry with us, that muck, and we put it on the God and saying, God, you are bad. You are good, you are bad, you are like this. If you are conducive, we'll say, God, you are so nice. Because why? You gave me something, or you're nice to me, so I'm happy. But something bad happens. God, you're mean, you're bad. So we put all our right, wrong, good, bad, everything on that divine being. That is what we do. And we judge that being. Please remember, that is the greatest of the sin. Whether you, me, or anybody who does this will have to pay for it. His universe is not going to spare any one of us. I'm telling you this. When I have gone through this myself, I had to go through that lesson in a very hard manner. It is going to come. Till that lesson doesn't come, we will not learn. We don't understand the truth. Truth is understood only through that hard-hitting lessons in life. Truth is understood only by going through the journey. That experiences are important. And it's nothing wrong. And many a time I tell my Guruji, this is something that I should have understood. I didn't. I'm learning the hard way. Why? Because I had given into my mind's self-conceit and deceit. I listened to my mind. The ego has to be destroyed. It is the ego which causes the problem. Either an inflated ego or a deflated ego. Even if somebody says, I don't have an ego, it's still an ego. Please remember. And deflated ego is very dangerous. Oh, I am the loyal. It's like a martyrdom. Oh, so everybody is saying bad about me. I am the poor. I am this. I am that. Everybody treats me like a servant. A lot of things come. Your mind talks. This is how your mind is talking to you. You are not being respected. Nobody values you. You are being treated like a servant. All this comes. And who's telling you all that? It is your mind alone. Is somebody from outside even thinking like that? No. One lesson. What is he saying? Unperturbed amid sorrows. How do we bring that? The only way to do that is by not being judgmental. You have to speak up. Speak up doesn't mean talking uncouth language or trying to argue and fight is not speaking up. Speaking up means you need to have a civil conversation. You need to first understand the truth. You have to ask questions, clarify. Is this what it is? Is this what it is not? Then only you will get an answer to your problems. Speaking up doesn't mean fighting. Speak up doesn't mean trying to say something bad. Speak up at the right time. And this is a very beautiful lesson. Again, my Krishna Guruji will keep teaching us. Nobody knows how to speak. Today, even I get trained into how do you speak? Because nobody has taught us. This body's parents or nobody's parents are teaching us. Why? Because they themselves have not learned. So we have only learned from them and our college, our school, wherever we've come from. And that's what we come with that knowledge. And we think we know too much. And that's a problem we have because we've never opened to learning. First, you have to become like a sponge who is able to absorb what is being taught. And if you don't understand, you need to ask. Nobody knows, by the way, nobody has knowledge. My Guruji says, ask a question one day. I asked him, I don't have knowledge. What is knowledge all about? And then he gave me a very beautiful explanation. The real knowledge is which makes you become humble, which teaches you humility. Knowledge can come only when you become humble and have humility. unto the lotus feet of the Guru. And this is what they teach in a Gurukul. And today, we have met our Gurujis at certain age. I always say, no, I wish I would have met you earlier. I would have learned more. I would have become more malleable. But you're coming at an age where you have to first destroy that ego that you carry. Everything you have to destroy, and that takes a long time. Why? Because we don't want to learn. It's our effort. If you don't put enough effort into becoming beautiful, becoming a divine being, it stops. It's an impediment to your progress. You can't progress. Then you will still remain a crass human being on this planet Earth. That is what happens. So you have to become like a clay in his hands for him to mold. And it is going to be painful. When you take a diamond is just a raw stone. But who gives that diamond the beautiful luster is the lapidarist. He actually chips that diamond. So beautiful. Every cut in the diamond brings out that shine. And that cut is painful. And that is what the Guru does. He makes you become the brightest shining example in this world. But for him to do that, he also has to go through that painful journey with you. It's not an easy thing for him. To taking his position, to being a guru is no joke. I keep telling my Krishna Guruji, I'm not even interested in becoming any of those. You are perfect. You are the only one who can be that. I don't even want to be that. Because Lord Sri Krishna, nobody can be him. Let me tell you this much. My Guruji is the greatest. He is my mother, my father, my everything of everything. To being him, to treat everybody like his own children. I have not seen a single human being who can do that. My Guruji does. Everyone who comes to him are his children alone. The same love, the same goodness, the same things. He looks upon everybody in that equanimity. He loves everybody unconditionally. Can any other parent in your life do that? Nobody can. They are very selfish people. They only can say you are their son or daughter. They will not think about another human being. Forget about thinking about you also. Today we are in the Kali Yuga. Everybody is self-centered. They only can think about themselves, not about another human being on this planet Earth. And nobody has goodness at heart. Forget love. Love is gone out of the window. Goodness at heart doesn't exist. People are just out to get there. They only want to satisfy their own insatiable desires. They don't teach you good stuff in life. They're always, they themselves are in the bitter condition, living in that muck, and they will pull you also in that muck. But what does my Guruji do? He, absorbs all that muck of yours, destroys in his stomach. Have you ever seen a real master? His stomach will be, it'll be huge. Do you know why? There is this fire, the eternal fire called Kal Agni, and in that he's burning your sins. Every time when you touch the lotus feet of your Guru, he's burning on your sins. That is the greatness of this master. Lord Sri Krishna is that. That is why we call him Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. It is not a joke. Nobody is a joke here. That is what you need to understand. And we people miss in understanding all this. And we become very uncouth human beings. We don't live these lessons. Imagine as a child when you go to school, if you make a mistake, your teacher is going to come and tell you. If you make a mistake, your teacher will call your parents. Look, your daughter or son has done this. But who is it reflecting on? It is reflecting on your parents. I've seen many a time when I got good marks, my teacher called my mother one day and said, "No, your daughter studies very well." My mother was very pleased. But the same thing, when something goes wrong, your parents are called for a PTA meeting. And then what happens? Then say, "Oh, look, this is good, this is bad." But who is it all reflecting on? Your parents. Likewise, our behavior, our way of life is all reflecting on this divine being, Lord Sri Krishna, the Guru that you live with, the one who's teaching you. And that is what we need to understand. The world will never point at you. It points at, is this your Guru? This is what he's teaching. Very easily they'll, splash that muck on your Guru because of one wrong behavior we do in this world. So my Guruji teaches us always, be your good self. Don't get disturbed by what happens around. Live the truth, understand the truth, and evolve on this path of the truth alone. It is very, very difficult lessons. It's not easy because we have to overcome this body, the mind, the senses, the tendencies. All this has to be overcome, and that's a journey, and that's a choice you have to put to evolve. You have to strive really hard. It's not going to come easy, let me tell you. It's very, very tough. You have to fight your own demons, and that is the demons within yourself, which is what you will be learning in Devi Mahatmyam and in this book, in this scripture itself. in the next few chapters, Lord Sri Krishna is also going to teach the same thing. How the demons are going to disturb you. So pleasures has altogether disappeared, and who is free from passion? Oh my God, that's the next very important thing. Who is free from passion? There are three words which is very important to achieve on the path of spirituality. First one is becoming dispassionate. Second one is detachment, and third one is discrimination. So here he's talking about one has to become dispassionate. What does becoming dispassionate mean? Becoming dispassionate means that you have to give up this passion that you have, that I am very passionate about this, I'm very passionate for, saris, I'm very passionate for food, I love cooking, I love this passion. Passion exists. We say, how much passion do you have? But first you have to do everything in a dispassionate state. Again, that's not easy. And he's saying that is a sage. He's describing the qualities of a sage. He didn't say that you have to become a sage. Then only you can achieve this. The sage, the real sage, has these qualities, and he's free from passion. He's not passionate. He's not saying, I want to have $1 billion. I want to own a company. I want to own this. I want to own a Rolls Royce. I want to own a BMW. He's not passionate about that. He's not passionate that I want to own the best jewelry. I want to own the best sari. Nothing. We need to give up our passions. We have to become dispassionate. What does that mean? If something is there, you just wear it because you have to wear for that event, for that moment. But you're not attached to that. You're not passionate about it. Passion means your mind is enjoying. See, you need to understand everything is connected here to only one entity, and that is your mind and senses and the body. These three things are the most dangerous thing. Either you can rise above using the three things, or you can fall down. And falling down is so very easy. So the passion also stems from mind. Who is passionate? Passionate is the mind, not you. The mind is instigating you. Please remember, you need to give charge. My Krishna Guruji will always say, my hand is right there. Take and walk. I am always here to hold your hand. But if you don't give me your hand, and then I can't do anything. Many a time my Guruji will go and say sorry to his disciples. Though a Guru doesn't have to say any of those words. Please remember, he is a perfect being. Every word is from gospel truth. And please remember, when he says sorry, he's actually boosting your ego. This is the truth you need to understand. When he says you are right, he's actually telling your mind, oh, you're the greatest. Please let me see how much more great you become. How much more egoistic you become. That is what he's doing. What you don't seem to understand, the Guru's ways is very different. The ego is very strong. He has to destroy the ego in us. That ego has to get destroyed. And if you allow that ego to go high, you will lose out in this. So don't give your ego that much of importance. Destroy that ego. Never have that ego, either inflated or deflated. It's very dangerous and detrimental for your own growth. And be it in the material world or be it in the spiritual world. When you follow the path of dharma, in the material world, nothing can touch you. Nobody can do any harm to you because you're under the Chhatrachaya of the Divine Lord. His grace is always on you. There will not one single bad thing befall you in this material world. Even if somebody is trying to cause you harm, His grace is always will act as a firewall and a protection to you. But don't lose that protection by becoming egoistic, and don't destroy that grace that you have received. And this is what is my humble request to all of us, that we should never lose this beautiful grace that we have been bestowed upon. And then what is the most important two things? Oh my God, this is very, very dangerous. Fear. See here, the Lord is giving everything in a very interesting manner. The sequence in which He is teaching. You need to understand the sequence in which He is going through. Next is what? Fear. Fear and anger. Anger is, my God. One is fear. We are very fearful of our life. What is going to happen? What is going to happen to my mother, father, my life, my future? I'm worried. My Guruji says, I ensure that everybody's well-being is taken care of. But we don't have trust in Him. That's a sad thing. We don't believe that my Guruji will take care. My God is going to take care. That faith we don't have. We think we are responsible for our life. We think we are the ones who are earning. We are the ones who are giving. No, please remember, nobody earns, nobody gives. The one who gives, the one who takes is the Divine Lord. Everything is owned by Him alone. He's the one who gives everybody. I don't give, neither anybody gives here. He is the one who gives. And if you think that I am the doer, which is what Lord Shri Krishna taught so long to Arjuna in all the verses. Your right is to work alone. And you don't think you are the cause of the fruit of the action. Very, very well explained. What makes you think you are the giver or you are the doer? Are you greater than Lord Shri Krishna? I didn't know that. So nobody gives. Please remember, the one who gives and the one who takes is the divine Lord. Have that faith in him, that he will do everything that which is right for you. Many a time when I have wondered in life, why is this not happening? And when I've let go of it, I'm telling you, I have witnessed this in my life at all times. I have let go and surrendered to the divine Lord and said, do what you want. Give whatever that you think is right will come to me. When I've completely surrendered, I'm not joking. The things that has come to me is beyond even what I could have even I could have even wished for or desired for, or even beyond what I could have even imagined. That is what happens to us. But we need to have that surrender. But the day you think, no, you want this alone, and when you don't get that, you feel terrible, you feel horrible. And then what happens? You are going to rue. But when you surrender, what comes to you comes with purity. That object, that subject, anything that comes to you has no karma in it. It is a desireless object when you surrender. And when that comes as a blessing from the divine Lord, no karma accrues to you. Please remember this. But when you demand and when you get it, what comes to you is with your destiny, as part of the destiny. And destiny is in the domain of Maya. And when it coming from her, please remember, there is always a repayment. And she's always going to, take it back. There's always a repayment there. Then you're adheen to her. And it comes with karma. That is what you need to understand. So just surrender. Acceptance in life is very important. So today, to live this way, how do the sage live? This is what Arjuna's question is. What kind of qualities do they have? How do I live like that? Is a question which Arjuna asked. But first, to becoming that, you have to become a sage. And to becoming a sage, Lord Shri Krishna has imparted all that lessons that you need to live. Even one word of this scripture, if you live, you become that divine being. Lord Shri Krishna himself. That is the truth. And the next is what? Anger. Oh my God. That is my subject, my domain. I get angry. That is one of my tendencies. Sorry. Please remember, every quality that we have been given is there to serve a purpose. No quality is given for anything. No quality is going to be there if it doesn't have a purpose at all. But what happens? That anger can be used to win in the world or to destroy your own self. Sometimes no. I've been an angry person, angry with lot of things which I have not accepted in life. And because of that, many times when you get angry, you end up creating lot of damages. And that damage is caused more to me than to anybody else. See, yesterday I gave you a very beautiful story of Daksha Prajapati and Sati. What happened to Sati? That my father did not give respect to my husband, Lord Shivji. Her anger, Sati burnt herself. She destroyed her own being. Lord Shivji was telling, don't do this. Don't go there. What he means? You are something you can avert. Only if you listen to the divine Lord. Shivji warned her not to go there. But she didn't listen to him. She ended up, I did the same thing. When you don't listen to the divine being, you end up doing that mistake. Then what happens? You will burn in your own anger. That is what. So anger, if you don't channel in the right direction, is the biggest thing that you can destroy yourself with. It's one of the gates, it is a doorways to the hell. It is a gate to the hell, which will be explained in the coming chapters. So please remember, you can't have this thing. I just briefed in a very brief manner, but I will go in depth to give you an understanding what happens in reality and in truth. Because when you understand this truth, you will make an effort not to get angry. See, to controlling anger is not a joke because it is within. You're fighting something that you don't know where it exists. And that you have to overcome. It's a process. It's a purification process. So channel your anger to win in this world, not to destroy your own self. See, any time when you get angry, that one anger can cost you millions, billions, whatever, It can destroy many things. So don't get angry. Not required. Like my Guruji says, be your good self. Let the world say whatever they want. Let them do whatever they want. You don't get angry. This is the most beautiful lesson my Krishna Guruji keeps telling me time and again. And today my Guruji says that anger I have retained in you because you have to win in this world. You have to channel that beautiful God-given quality to achieve and be successful in this world to serve the purpose of the Divine Lord, but not to destroy yourself. So same thing can either used for a good purpose or for a destruction. So the choice rests with you alone. That is what Lord Sri Krishna is also teaching. But please remember, here he is only talking the qualities of a sage. How does this sage live? What are the things he has already overcome? That is what we have learned. But what happens in the future chapters, Lord Sri Krishna is going to explain to you what happens if we have these qualities and what is going to befall us. So we need to be very careful about it. With this, I will end the satsang over here. Let's see you in the next satsang. We stop at verse 56. Thank you once again for joining Sri Bhagavad Gita satsang. Have a very good weekend. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunathanataya Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.